Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 80. Whew. I'm Evan.
I'm Jim.
And, what are we talking about today, Jim?
Well, let's start off. Let's talk a little bit about some turtles, some turtle power, if you will.
Got some turtle power, some movies. We're going to cover a bit of the, the Marvels and the MCU.
Yeah, let's talk a little MCU.
And I want to talk about something a little different, some music.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that. We haven't really broached that subject before.
All right. So, let's start diving in. So, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, it's cold now. I'm cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
Every day is shorter and everything. I don't care for that either.
Yeah, no, it's dark out at 4 o'clock now.
It's crazy.
Terrible.
Awful. I'll come down and start doing the orders for the day and everything. And then by the time I come back up, I don't think it's that late, but it's pitch black.
Yeah, no, it throws everything off.
Oh,
it's ridiculous.
Crazy. So, let's talk about the TMNT, the Cowabunga Boys.
Yeah. So if people don't know, and maybe you don't when you're listening, here in New Hampshire is where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created.
One of our greatest exports.
Absolutely. And a little town called Dover is where it all came to be. And this past week, they finally did a celebration of the greatness that is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and its creators.
Far overdue.
Yeah, absolutely. So, paying great respect to two former residents of the town, and of course Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird.
Now, were they both there? I know Peter Laird was there. I saw him.
I don't know if Kevin Eastman was there or not.
Yeah.
I'm not positive.
Because Peter Laird popped up at Granite State Comic Con.
Exactly.
Yeah, right
Absolutely.
by our booth. Very nice guy.
Yeah, very nice.
So long overdue
I think so too. So they have a big, sign on the street which talks about the creation.
Yeah.
And then down the road which they lived, there's a sewer that's now a sewer cover.
Yeah.
That's now dedicated to them as well.
Oh,
so
it's got the TMNT or whatever.
It's got a little bit more information. It's got a silhouette of the four of them.
That excites me because it's one of those things where, I think you could go up to anybody and say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they would at least know what you're talking about.
Right.
Maybe they're not huge fans or whatever, but they know what it is.
They're familiar, at least, with the name. No one's unfamiliar with the name.
Right, and the thing is we should celebrate stuff like that. That is a huge moment in our culture.
Well, I mean, again, you're talking about a property, right, that has expanded into almost any entertainment medium that you could possibly think about.
You used to be able to get frozen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle dinners,
right,
too.
Exactly. So, I mean, you talk about being in the cultural zeitgeist, right? And not only that, but it's generational. I mean, generations have grown up. They keep on recreating the Turtles cartoon for new generations.
We go to comic, to comic conventions and anime conventions and all that sort of stuff. You always see some sort of TMNT representation there. Always. Whether it's cosplay or, there's a book, The Last Ronin came out a while back and there,
I can't think of a time since they've been created, since that really took off, that there hasn't been a form of popularity. They've never gone out of style.
No.
You know what I mean? They're always in some capacity.
Because they're in just this weird space, because they're not technically, I guess, superheroes.
Right.
But they're superhero adjacent.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, Batman, they popped up with Batman. And,
that was
right. But
that was some fun.
I'm just saying, it just seems like for whatever reason, they have withstood the test of time.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, right? I mean, you could have the children type of cartoon, right? And then, like you said, then you can read something like The Last Ronin, which is very from a much more adult audience.
That's an adult book.
Yeah. So I mean, it covers the gambit, and then
that's what I like about it, because I've been an advocate for that. I think you can have the children's and the teenager stuff without sacrificing say The Last Ronin, because you have that as well, and it's a huge success.
Right, and that's the whole thing about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is that they're never stuck on any type of true continuity. They'll continuously remake it, and if they have to change things to, let's say, modernize it, what have you, or adapt to a different age group, they're fine with doing that.
The new movie came out, and it's pretty well received.
Yeah, and they're not beholden to any laws. You know what I mean? Like they'll keep on making this product, and they'll adapt to whatever it needs to be, as long as you have those core four brothers. That's all you can tell whatever story you want in whatever genre you want.
Yeah. I think I was really excited to hear that they were getting the honor.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think like it or not, American culture is pop culture.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay? And so we should celebrate things like that. We should celebrate, the inception of the Ninja Turtles, or the inception of, we have Batman Day and things like that. Like those are, you can say that they're geek culture, but my argument is I can go up to anyone and say Batman or Ninja Turtles, and whether you're a fan or not, you know what it is.
Right.
So it's part of our culture.
Right. And even if you don't live in the quote unquote geek culture world or the superhero world, I bet you've seen a Batman movie or show at one point in your life. You watched
because
it.
Again, it's the same thing. There's stuff for kids, there's stuff for, teenagers, and there's stuff for adults.
Exactly. And as long as you can keep on adapting in that way, it's always going to continuously be around. It's never going to go out of style.
No.
And that's what they created.
It's one of those properties, Ninja Turtles, Batman, those pillars.
Spider-Man, things like that.
But even Batman, if you look at it, like it survived the bat nipples.
Yeah.
So it can even survive sort of death throes.
Yeah, you can make it to a point where it's almost bottomed out, and it can be salvaged by the next person who comes in and puts a little bit of shine back onto it.
Yeah, because I think we're in a good place today with Batman.
Absolutely,
for the most
we
part.
Are.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see. I heard they're making a Last Ronin game.
Yeah.
Which great, do that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
but
I want to see more. Ninja Turtles.
But I will say,
content.
if anybody is in the area of New Hampshire, Dover, New Hampshire, or ever wants to take a pilgrimage to pay respect to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles creators, it's definitely worth going to check it out. It's a nice little monument to
if you're an artist or you're into art,
right.
I mean, that's just one where it was two guys in a small ass apartment bouncing ideas off of each other,
came up with something crazy and said, hey, let's publish this ourselves, get this out, and
here we are, heroes in a half shell,
right? Absolutely.
Have you seen anything?
I have.
Oh,
so we're heading into the festive holiday season.
Indeed we are.
Christmas is not that far away, so I figured I'm going to put on a Christmas movie.
Okay.
Went back a little ways into the 70s.
Oh.
So a little movie called Black Christmas.
Oh, my.
You seen this one?
Of course,
right?
Black Christmas.
So I'm rewatching Eli Roth's History of Horror, right?
Yeah.
They've been repeating it, and I caught it, and they had the holiday episode.
Were they talking about the remake or the original? On because I remember them mentioning it, but I don't remember if they covered. Did they cover both?
Just the original.
Oh, okay. Because the remake is not very good.
So they did. It was the holiday special. They mentioned this movie. I'm like, you know what? I've not seen that in I don't.
Yeah, it was like sleepaway camp for me. I haven't seen it in years and years.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch it. I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna watch it. We're coming upon We're coming upon the holiday festive time. Let's put on a holiday movie, right? That's a holiday movie.
I don't see why not.
It's such a the one thing that I forgot, and the one thing that I will say is the language is very mature. Let's just put it that way. It is very mature language in this movie. But again, it's a very good movie for the it's not it's obviously there's the murders in it, and there's the killing aspect and the gore, but then you have the psychological part of you think you know who the killer is,
right? And they really lead you down a path,
right?
With who
exactly,
it is.
And then all of a sudden there's the big twist,
right?
You know what I mean? And then there's the ending that even leaves it a little bit open-ended, like, did the final girl die or not? You know what I mean? So
it's a good it's I don't know, there's something about older horror films especially.
Yeah.
Right? Where I don't know if it was just that the genre wasn't that big of a deal back then, so you could really just get away with these incredibly creative ideas.
Yeah. I think that's the case. I think that there wasn't, at least I believe that probably the expectation of making money for these types of movies really wasn't there.
There was no budget either.
Right, there's no budget, but you had a star in Margot Kidder, right?
True.
I mean, you had Superman's Margot Kidder.
That's true. I don't know. Black Christmas is one of those ones. Like, I was excited when they announced the remake because I was like, okay, I can. You're going to bring it up to date a little bit.
Sure.
And then I watched it and I was like, it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. And it you have that old-timey vibe too, right?
Well, like you said, just with the language alone.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, is it, I don't know that it's problematic, but like.
No.
But it's just that there was almost like a carefree sort of attitude towards it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to worry about the censors. Or, we got our R rating. And, it's there for a reason.
This was a movie that, again, it wasn't, if it offends you, it offends you. And they weren't concerned about that. They were making
don't watch it if it offends you.
Exactly. They were making a movie that they wanted to make. They weren't going to care about censor or sensitivity
and it's
or
a
anything
lot of fun.
like that. It is a lot of fun. So that was my was my choice for the holidays. What about you? What did you catch?
So I watched Saw X.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I was actually surprised at how good it was.
Really? Okay. Well, that's good.
Let me tell the truth here. I watched all the Saws.
Sure.
Because my partner is psychotic, and we can't just watch Saw X. We have to watch 1 through 10.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Right. But I don't need that. Especially with like Saw, there's not a
it's pretty much the same movie.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. I would say probably, 1 is the best. 2's also very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it starts to get a little, I don't think any of them are overtly bad. I think like the 3D era ones are a little cheesy, but overall they're kind of fun.
Yeah, they don't spiral the way like say Friday the 13th did.
No, it's never that degree of camp. Right. And so I watched Spiral, which is 9, which is Chris Rock and Sam Jackson, and it Saw adjacent, I guess, the book of Saw.
Okay,
that was pretty good.
All right, good.
And then 10 really caught me off guard.
Yeah,
because 10, I always thought Saw's biggest mistake was, spoilers for people who haven't seen the originals. They killed Tobin Bell's Jigsaw off fairly early. I think it's like the 3rd movie.
Yeah.
Right? And every movie going forward, he always pops up, but it's just like nobody's him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so like he's very electric. He steals the scenes that he's in. And like, to me, that was always a big kind of sin that they sort of killed him off. And then it's like, well, people are continuing his legacy, but nobody's him.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one takes place in the past.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right.
And what we get is kind of an exploration into sort of who Jigsaw, I shouldn't even say it, it's not even really his relationships, I guess.
Okay.
And so basically the gist of the movie, without going too long in it, is he's still trying to, fight the cancer.
Yeah.
And he goes to a cancer support group, and this guy basically tells him, like, hey, I did this experimental treatment with these people, and I'm cured. So he finds them, he looks them up, and they're like, yeah, come down to Mexico, and we'll do it. Turns out it's all a con, right?
Oh.
And of all the fucking people you're going to con,
right,
he's the worst.
Yeah, that's not a good choice.
So the thing is that you really... It's been received incredibly well.
Yes.
You're rooting for him.
Sure.
Because these people are just the worst. Like, it doesn't get worse than that, right? Like, you're conning cancer patients out of, large sums of money. And so there is, it's almost a slow burn, which is kind of weird to say for Saw. But the first 50 minutes is just, you're spending time with John Kramer.
Okay.
So...
Interesting.
Right. And I'm thinking to myself, like, when it first started, I was like, I don't know if I like this. And then by like 10 minutes in, I'm like, because Tobin Bell is a fantastic actor.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. You want to spend time with this character and get to know kind of how his relationships with Amanda and these other people kind of are.
Right.
It's great.
That's good to hear.
So apparently they're making more.
I'm sure.
Now, that being said, Tobin Bell's 81.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, they better hurry.
Right. You may get one or two more.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing of it is that I think it's one of those series that, is 10 in. And if you look at kind of the trajectory of it, it goes from sort of this, it's not really true horror to me. It's kind of like gross out.
Yeah,
it's kind of gore porn in a way,
right,
but I guess you would say the first two are the closest thing to a horror, and then it kind of goes a little campier,
right?
And now with this 10, even 9 and 10, we're getting into sort of these more character driven, pieces, and to be 10 movies in and be able to achieve something like that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive, because typically people would have, bailed on the franchise by now, because again, it's very hard to keep up quality for a franchise to go 10 movies in.
This goes for any of them. I mean, if you look at Friday the 13th, if you look at Nightmare on Elm Street,
all of them.
By the time you hit 4 or 5, you're in a pretty campy spot.
Halloween, same thing.
Oh, yeah, Halloween 4 and 5.
You know what I mean? They, and there's some good, splattered here and there in those movies.
I think Halloween, for me, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, but, again, this is what happens, right? Most of the time, it's hard to keep the energy, going. Yeah, exactly.
And I think what Saw has done is they've really been able to, at least keep fans interested. I'm not saying it's the greatest franchise of all time.
No,
but it's a fun watch.
No, but if you can have a 10th movie and it's well received and
it's the highest rated,
right? So you're onto something there.
Yeah. So, and the thing of it is I think the reason it's so highly rated is because they kind of corrected that sort of sin of Jigsaw being dead,
right?
With it happened. This is and hopefully going forward, I think they can go either way. I think you go. Maybe you stay in the past for as long as you have Tobin Bell.
Yeah.
And then if you want to continue the story forward afterwards with the other guy and stuff, feel free to do that. But
that makes sense.
Yeah. What a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting Saw 10 to hit the way that it did.
Awesome.
Yeah. So real good. So the Marvels came out.
Let's talk about a movie that didn't do well.
Didn't do so good.
Isn't well received.
So what's kind of interesting is I heard it's not like egregiously bad as far as the film itself. I didn't hear it's like this completely awful schlock.
Yeah. I mean,
I heard it's very, very mediocre.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard more of it being schlock than mediocre.
But I think one of the biggest problems is it's the third, comedy-driven movie.
Right.
That hurts it.
Yeah.
I will say, so it's a financial failure.
A total failure.
I did see Miss Marvel come out and kind of. I understand her perspective.
Sure.
You know, I think as far as like anybody to come out of that series, she seems to be, you know, the most well-rounded individual. You know, and I think she has a chance to really, you know, become part of a beloved, you know, become beloved in the fandom. Now, that being said, you know, a lot of what I think a lot of what we're seeing is nobody is trying to say that this is because of racism or sexism. We're not getting that, I don't think.
Oh, no. We are.
Oh, because that's not what I'm seeing.
The director came out just the other day.
Really?
Absolutely. Playbook.
That's insane to me.
Yep. Playbook. And here's the thing, and I agree with you on Iman Vellani, the actress who plays Miss Marvel. Here's the thing. If Brie Larson acted like she does,
right,
then you would have a character that no one likes or no one wants but would put up with because the actress who portrays that character at least is enjoyable and
she's
bearable.
She's incredibly likable.
Right. And so no one's going to ever like Miss Marvel, but they will give it a pass because she's charming.
Right.
And if Brie Larson could be anything like that, maybe we wouldn't be in the position that we're in.
But at the end of the day, if you look at Iron Man, he was nobody's A tier.
No.
But Robert Downey Jr. was so charming.
Right, exactly.
That it was like we can...
Chris Hemsworth,
right.
Tom Hiddleston, Chris Evans... Go down the list of these characters that weren't the most popular,
right?
But
a lot of them were
actors,
B-tier, you know?
But the actors they chose made sure that those characters got over, and people started loving them.
Now, I saw the reviews came out, right, and it hovered at like a 55 on the critic
side. Yeah.
So you know. The game is over at this point. And I think Marvel knows that as well.
Oh, I totally agree. Here's the thing, right? And we've talked about it. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. You know, back in 2018, Kevin Feige came out with his interview and said diversity and inclusion is going to be priority number one.
Right, that's the future of the Marvel cinematic
the message
universe.
Is number one.
Right.
And there will be twice as many female characters as there are male. He took the playbook of what wasn't working in the comics and said, you know what? My ego is so large that I'm going to make a success out of what failed miserably in the comics, and I'm going to have my vision of the message, and it's going to be a massive success.
But
and
the thing is,
he's failed worse than the comics could ever have dreamed of.
Because the thing is, right, because this pops up a lot. You know, people take these beloved IPs and go, I can change it completely and it'll still be successful.
Right.
And it's like, but that's not how it works. The whole thing about, like, you know, not to harp on Witcher, right?
Yeah.
But the whole thing is fans get excited. If you're a fan of The Witcher, you get excited because it's coming to the live action. And your expectation is it's going to be true to the source material, but the whole thing is it's going to be exposed to a wider audience now.
Right,
So that's the excitement of it. It's like, oh, now finally everyone can see what I'm talking about.
Right, because there are some people that don't want to read the books or play the video games, but will be interested in the show, and that'll draw in a new audience that might know, find love
but you need
in
to
the
have,
franchise.
You need to not isolate your built-in audience.
But here's the thing, right?
Right.
We you know, Kevin Feige gave us the MCU.
Yep.
This is what he wanted. It is a financial disaster.
I think if we look at Phase 4 and Phase 5, there's not a lot of positive that came out of that.
No, and you know,
there's a couple.
Right, and to quote the Joker, you know, you got what you fucking deserved.
Yeah, I would say so.
You didn't listen to any fans.
Well,
you chose to push your agenda ahead of entertainment.
To bring it back to the comment, right? Because she went on social media and she posted basically, I think she acknowledged that it was bad.
Right.
I think she acknowledged that it's not what the fans want. And I think her call was to, just understand that it takes time to turn the ship. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah, but you're not turning the ship.
The thing is this. If that was the statement that the studio was taking, the stance, I think the fandom would be fine.
Right.
But the stance that the studio takes is, no, these are all great films. It's just because you're a fucking racist.
Right. And again, we did have the director come out and blame the fans. We heard the same thing. Here's the thing. One of the things that we're hearing is, well, it's not made for you. No, understand, it is fucking made for me. I'm your guy. You're the guy. We are lifelong comic book superhero
well, at the end of the
fans.
day, right?
It's made for us.
When MCU runs its course, which everything runs its course, it's not like it's going to be forever.
Right.
I'm still going to be a comic guy.
Right, exactly. And this is the thing. 65% of the audience that went were men. Women don't want this shit. They don't ask for it. You went and you thought you were making a Barbie movie, and the difference that you don't understand is women.
Well, your built-in audience for Barbie is women,
and your built-in audience for superheroes is men. There are women that like it.
Again, like your Wonder Womans and things like that.
But it's not.
But it still has to exist in the universe that is sort of tailored towards maybe not even so much men, but your comic. I think you get lost in the gender of it. I think it's more just comic book fans.
No, but what I'm saying is you had 65% of the audience was male.
What, for this one?
For this movie, for the Marvels. Women didn't turn out. Because it's more for a guy. Superheroes are always going to be a higher percentage of male than female. I'm not saying it's not for females or females aren't invited to the party. I'm just saying that you keep on saying that it's not made for men, and this is exactly what is made for men. These movies are in fact supposed to be made for men and women to both enjoy. Maybe not a lot of women come out to it, but we shouldn't be excluding anybody. We shouldn't be making movies for exclusion purposes.
It's directly, I think the failure of it is not so much it's made for men or women. It's the fact that it is gatekeeping.
Sure.
And then what ends up happening is that's in direct opposition to a lot of the messages of these superheroes.
Right.
It was always about inclusion. It was always about inclusion.
Yeah.
Like if you go back before the MCU existed, right, and you go back to just what we had, whether it was media or even just the books, it was always the fringe of society that was, into this stuff.
Sure.
It's not like your corporate 9-to-5 guy was into this 20 years ago.
But then, but you look at it and you say, okay, you put out this movie, right? And to your point about what Miss Marvel says about turning the boat, this is why that is 100% wrong, because at the end of this movie, she is recruiting the Young Avengers, which was only females. The next movie the next show you have coming out is Echo, starring a female. Loki season 2 ends. Loki is gone. Tom Hiddleston has said he's done, but female Loki is going to continue going forward as Loki.
I heard Loki's done, though.
Yeah, he's done.
No. I heard no more Loki TV show either. I heard it's done.
I'm not saying that there's going to be another show. I'm saying that the female Loki is going to continue.
Right, and the thing of it is that if you really want to go down that road, that's your prerogative. You own the IPs at the end of the day, but you can't get mad at people for not showing up to it.
Right, but
like that's the thing.
Right.
Like I think her statement was good. You acknowledge that it wasn't what we were looking for, and you're asking for us not to be toxic about it. And my rebuttal to that is, I won't be toxic to you because I think you truly understand it. Where I want to be toxic is to people that are accusing me of toxic behavior.
Right.
So if you're telling me that this failed because I'm a misogynist or a racist, I'm going to be toxic to you because you can't call me those things, especially that they're untrue.
Right.
I mean, how can you, with a straight face, say, oh, comic book fans don't really care for Miss Marvel. Never have.
Never.
We go to conventions. Very rarely do I see any Miss Marvel cosplay.
No. Hold on. You barely see any Captain Marvel. You see never Miss Marvel.
Right.
Never a single
you never
Miss
see
Marvel.
any Miss Marvel. You, on a very rare occasion, you'll see Captain Marvel, but that is rare.
Very rare.
I see
very rare.
It's got to be 20-1 Wonder Woman to Miss Marvel, to Captain Marvel. And so the thing of it is, right, is you have these characters that are relatively unpopular in the fandom, right? Ironheart.
Right.
All very unpopular characters in the fandom, not so much because they're women or they're diverse, just because their villains are shit, their stories are relatively boring. Like, there's just nothing to grab onto.
Look, you had the ability to create these characters, and you could have made them interesting, and you chose not to.
Yeah, but
you
could you make them interesting? Because I think if you look at at the end of the day, these characters are established, right? And they're not interesting in the original medium that they were created.
No,
in.
what I'm saying is, when you originally created the characters in the pages of the comics,
right,
you chose to make them uninteresting. You chose to make them Mary Sue's.
Right. I don't know if you chose to make them uninteresting. I just think that the traits and the personality you gave these characters does not resonate with the fans.
Well, what I'm saying is, when and we've talked about this a million times, when you show up on day one and you're better than everybody,
when you throw the hero's journey away,
when you have no hero's journey, you're never ever going to be accepted in the fandom, because the fans will find that immediately boring. We don't want a million Mary Sues.
At the end of the day, right, the fans have been there since the beginning. So it's insulting to them to bring a character in and just be like, yeah, they're great, male or female.
Right. No, exactly. I mean, if you did that with a male as well, it would be uninteresting. But you had time to try to make these characters work in the pages of the comics, and it never did. And this is why
I think that to me is the most insulting part of it, is that, it failed in the comics. You've tried multiple iterations of these characters, and none of them are taking off with the fan base.
Right.
So what makes you think that transferring these characters from the page to the screen is going to give them new life?
Well, that's Kevin Feige's ego. Kevin Feige's ego was that the fans are going to do whatever I tell them to do. They're going to accept whatever I tell them to accept, and I will, make them where they're popular, where the comics have failed, because I'm a success, and so therefore my success is going to shine through.
I'm going to say this right now. There is no one that is above these characters.
Absolutely
there is
not.
No one that is above these characters ever. There will never be anyone above these characters.
No.
At the end of the day, the character in the hierarchy, it's the characters, and if you have someone controlling where things go that know what they're doing, great. Then you'll have success, but you'll never be bigger than the characters.
But I mean, even look at Miss Marvel right now.
Right.
Okay. You put out a Disney Plus show.
Right.
It was the lowest rated show on Disney Plus.
Right. Nobody really tuned in.
You put it on ABC for free.
Yep.
And the ratings were abysmal.
Yeah,
no
nobody
one
liked
watched.
it.
She just helped co-write a comic where you rebooted Miss Marvel again, making her a part of the X-Men,
right.
And the comics is failing. It literally no one cares. And now you've put her in the Marvels, and it's the worst flop in MCU history. Understand, she may be a delightful young woman. This character is hated. It will never be accepted. It's unwanted.
You're doing a disservice to her as an actor, because I think when you see her in the role, right, you root for her.
Sure.
But it's just that everything, around you is garbage.
Right.
So she's a young actor. It's not like someone with her, even if she was the best at what she was doing, which she's not.
No.
It would take an incredible talent to be able to prop up an entire film.
Right, but if you want to make her a side character to other people's movies, again, because people like the actress, they will accept that.
But the thing of it is, like, the whole thing about her character is she's kind of a fangirl.
Right, exactly.
So, like, she works so well as, like, a POV character.
Right, but the problem now is, at the end of the movie, she is recruiting the Young Avengers. She's the leader of the young. So now you've put her as the leader. She's the Nick Fury now, going out there recruiting other Young Avengers to form a team that she's going to be the lead of. And let me tell you something, Kevin Feige. I'll put it to you right now. If you honestly are going to go forward with that idea and you're going to make a Young Avengers movie, the Marvels is going to look like friggin' Casablanca next to that dog shit.
I mean, you have to figure at some point, right? Like the money men have to step in.
Well, so here's the thing too, right? Just real quick. We talked about this, right? There is going to be a proxy battle going on very soon, right? So Nelson Peltz is buying up a tremendous amount of shares to force his way onto the board.
Right.
He has now gotten the stock control of Ike Perlmutter, who was the former head of Marvel.
Right.
There is now another group that is also now engaged separately that wants to also get board seats. So at some point soon, Bob Iger is probably getting fired very soon, and other people are going to take over the board for Disney and are going to start reeling this shit in as far as cost control goes.
I think if Disney is going to survive, which is I never thought I'd say that,
right?
But I think if they're going to survive, there needs to be a full course correction.
Right. And here's the thing, right? And this is the thing of it, right? And again, we can sit there and anybody can say that they're not going to push. The message is being pushed, and it's going to be pushed hard. It's down your throat. It's everything that they do.
Yeah, but nobody wants that.
No one wants it, and that's why.
Because at the end of the day, it's about escapism.
Right.
Right? If I wanted the message, I could just talk to the people in my life.
Right.
And it's not that we don't agree with the message. It's that when I go to the fucking movies, it's to escape the awful reality that I live in.
Sure. But I mean, again, you can't just, you can't just forego entertainment because diversity and inclusion is the main priority. And it doesn't matter. As long as you have a diverse cast on the screen, it doesn't matter what they're saying or doing. No, Disney, that's not how it works. And your box office receipts are showing you that has been a rejected concept, but you just can't understand it, and you refuse to course correct. And so you're going to continue going down this path. And then,
well, I think the problem is that at the end of the day, it's a giant corporation.
Right.
So you can fucking sit there and tout your quote unquote morals, but none of us believe you. You're an evil corporation.
Of course none of us believe you.
So half of it is that it rings hollow.
Right. And then, Stephen King comes out and makes a comment about, why are we gloating on the failure of this movie?
See, but that I think is a bubble. I think that's a successful person living in a bubble. No one is gloating that the movie failed. It's not a good thing that it failed.
No.
What we're doing, and the reason we talk about it, and the reason that we're trying to get the attention of these megalomaniacs and tell them that the course that you have picked is the wrong one.
Right.
The stories that you were telling are shit.
Right.
Tell better stories.
But see,
it's not a gloat.
No, and here's what he's missing. Here's exactly what he's missing. We've been talking about this for years, trying to get it through the heads of these corporations what the audience doesn't want, and they won't listen. So we were told numerous times the way to get it through their head is by talking with your wallets. And that's exactly what's happening now. We're talking with our wallets, not supporting this shit anymore. And that's why these movies are flopping.
But that again, I think that's him living in a bubble. He is a commercially successful independent artist, which is a very, like, that in of itself is a rare, that's a unicorn.
Sure.
So I can understand having your ideals, but understand that the rest of us who love these properties, we're not even allowed to touch them.
Right. But we are allowed to not watch them and pay for it.
Right. And
that's what we're doing.
Right. And it's not us gloating that Marvel's failed. Listen, at the end of the day, if Marvel's was a good story and it continued the MCU, I don't care who's leading the MCU. I don't care if you figured out Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel and they're in charge now, as long as it's good.
Right. And this is what these people don't understand. And we've said this a million times. I don't ever want to see the things I love fail. That is not bringing me any pleasure whatsoever. I want to see the MCU for another 20 years.
Like,
I want Star Wars for another 20 years.
The thing of it is that, like, when it all gets too much, that's where I turn. And now I can't turn there.
Right. And you know, the thing is, we're not gloating for the failure. We're gloating for the fact that you refuse to listen and you're putting shit out because you're trying to care so much about that small activist Twitter crowd.
I don't even know that it's gloating. I think it's just like, hey, can you listen now?
No, but it's not gloating. It's, you know, it's us trying to say, but we've been telling you, not because we know what we want, and we're trying to make you understand. Our dollars are in our hand. We want to go and spend it on your product. Please, if you made it like this, we will be there. There are people that have left. That's always going to happen in whatever genre, whatever franchise, whatever it is.
But you're true diehard fans.
But there is a massive audience that's still there that is willing to support. And we're waiting in line to buy that ticket. All we're telling you is, if you make another Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, if you make another Thor Love and Thunder, if you make another Wakanda Forever, we're not going to go and spend our money on that. Can you please stop doing it? And the answer to that is the Marvels. And it's like,
but
nope.
The thing of it is, right, is that they knew leading up to this that it was garbage.
Right.
They knew.
That's why they did
reshoots. They did, you know, when you're failing with the test audience, you're in trouble.
And the thing is, this is a $300 million movie, plus on top of that marketing. You need to get to close to $1 billion just to break even on this movie, and you're going to be lucky if you get maybe $300 million. Is this what you wanted? Because your message is so important. Is losing hundreds of millions of dollars and having a movie that everybody hates, that no one will ever watch again, is that more important or less important because your message is so important that you need that to be the number one priority? And then, again, to come out and call the fans racist.
Well, I think that's what bothers
misogynists.
That's what bothers me the most, because, you know, I've accepted, you know, that we're under the thumb of capitalism. So the fact that I can't even touch the characters that I love is an unfortunate reality to the world we live in. Right. You know, so you can tell whatever story you want. I have no control over that.
Right.
And I accept that.
Right.
What I don't accept is that you telling whatever story you want, me not liking it, and then you calling me something horrible because I don't like it.
Right. Exactly. You know, again, you have the right, you own the property to make whatever you want, but then don't expect us to monetarily support it when we tell you that we hate it and that it's nothing that we want as the audience. And then your answer to that is, well, if you're not going to support it, you're going to call us a whole bunch of horrible names. Is that how you're going to get us back to the movies?
The thing of it is, right, and I think that's why I had such an issue, not an issue so much, but that's why I had so much trouble with, Miss Marvel's statement is I agree with her, but she's not factoring in what the studios and the other stars are doing.
Right. Kevin Feige doesn't agree with her.
Right. But that's my point is like, yes, you're the only one that has said something even remotely to what the fandom agrees with.
But you know why she said it? Because...
Well, maybe she believes it.
No, she does believe it. And the reason she believes it is because she actually goes to the comic book stores and actually sees who's there and knows what the actual audience is. And she knows that these movies are not going to go to the audience that's in those comic book shops.
But I wonder if she's in that unique position where she kind of because at the end of the day, we don't get to see both sides.
Right.
Right. And I wonder if she's in that position where she does get to see both sides, and it could very well be, the fans are talking more shit. Well, we're going to release even more. You know what I mean? Almost in spite of what we're looking for. But what's wild to me is that, these are properties that we love. Mm-hmm. So if you release stuff that is in line with what we love, we're going to be happy with you.
Right. Yeah. Did you see the trailer for Madam Web by any chance?
No, I didn't even.
It's the Marvels in a Spider-Verse.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Yay.
It's not even that. It's just Madam Web.
Well, but again, we're talking C and D list characters like the Marvels.
But that's what I'm saying to you. I don't care.
It's an all-female cast.
Here's the thing, right? So you got Spider-Man 2 dropped on PlayStation.
Yep.
Right? It did incredibly well.
Yeah.
And then the developers came out and said, going forward, Miles Morales is going to be the main character.
Mm-hmm. Cool, but we'll see if it. But
it'll do fine.
We'll see.
Here's the thing: it'll do fine because Miles earned that. It's not fucking someone who came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Miles Morales,
Peter Parker isn't going away.
No. But what I'm saying is, Miles Morales, in the comics, isn't a success. He's a success in the Spider-Verse movie.
Sure, and people in the game industry like him too.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is that you can do something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And have Peter take on the more parental role because Miles has earned that.
Right. And Miles Morales has more of a fan base. Again, he doesn't have a big fan base, and if people tell you he does, he doesn't.
Well, I think what happened with Miles is, when it came out, it wasn't huge.
Right.
But anybody that got into it was like, oh, this is pretty good, actually.
Right.
And now it's getting with Spider-Verse and the games
but
and everything.
I think that the Into the Spider-Verse movie grew him an audience.
Right, but I'm okay with that.
No, and I am too, but there was something at least to latch on to, right? Something good. Again, yes, in the comics, he's not very popular. He doesn't sell. But that movie came out and it caught on. And
right,
now
and
there's something to build a fan base off of because something got popular. Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, they've never had anything in any medium
but the thing
that's
is,
been
right,
popular.
The thing is, the reason why Miles works is because he came on the scene, he was inexperienced, he looked to Peter for guidance, right? So our main Spider-Man, who we've loved for 70 years, is teaching a protege.
Right.
Much like Nightwing, who's beloved.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. We're okay. I'm totally cool with other characters as long as you understand that, Peter's teaching you, which they do a great job in Spider-Verse, and they do a great job in the Spider-Man games. So when they come out and they go, all right, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, you had Peter, and now Miles is going to take the front seat. Right. I'm like, cool.
And that's fine. And that's fine because again,
there's a lot of work that went into getting.
But he went on a hero's journey.
Right.
He is respecting the hero that was there before him.
Right.
He took the guidance and teaching of that hero to become his own man, and now he could be his own man, like you said with Nightwing, right? He was Robin, learned under Batman.
Right.
Respected Batman.
Right.
Batman is always going to be his hero.
Right, you see it.
But then he became Nightwing.
Even in stuff that's not well received, like that Gotham Knights game, the characters are correct.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there is a love and a respect for Bruce Wayne Batman.
Right. Exactly. And the thing is, every member of the Bat family has gone on the hero's journey.
Right.
Every single one of them. And then they became their own character. But every one of them will always bow down to the Bat. That's the way it works.
But that's the thing is you're always going to live in the shadow of the giant that came before you.
Right.
And the thing is that if you're okay with that, like I think Miles is doing great. I like the Spider-Verse movies. They're very good.
Yeah, they're very good.
And the thing is that even in the games, they're good. He's good. He's likable.
Right.
So the thing is like I'm okay rolling that way as long as we just understand that, Peter's the best.
Right, but it wasn't that, I'm here, you're a piece of shit,
right.
I'm better than you from day one.
Right.
I will not go on any hero's journey because I don't need to because I'm the best that's ever been.
I don't need your advice or anything like that.
You're garbage. Go away. I'm here now. And that's, and the thing is, you got Captain Marvel who appeared on the scene with no hero's journey being the best, and then you have her fangirl who appears on the scene who's also the best. Like, you're the best of the best of the best. That's all you people are. And then when people say, well, yeah, no, I hate these characters. They're shallow. They're uninteresting.
That's what it comes down to is that when you have a character that doesn't go through any adversity, you have a two-dimensional character, which is not something that any of us want.
Right. And in the comics they haven't, and in the MCU they also haven't.
But another thing is a lot of our original heroes are incredibly flawed.
Yeah. And that's
and
great.
Some of the best stories involve those flaws.
Yeah.
So when you have characters that are just the best, there's no depth. It's just like, oh, okay, so you're just the best.
Right. You're the best. There's
like nothing for normal people to latch on to.
Yeah, and the other part of it too is, and we can move on. If I just want to make one more point that, I don't understand where Marvel doesn't understand. This is not stand-up comedy. Why is every one of your movies you think that you have to add these awful, cringe-worthy jokes?
This is the third comedy-centric movie in a row.
Right. And you've been told how much the fans hate it, that this is one of the worst aspects of all of the movies, and yet you continue to do it.
It was tired in Endgame. It was tired in Infinity War.
I think it was tired in Ragnarok.
Ragnarok was what, before? Yeah. That's the thing is that it's not what we're looking for.
Like you've literally had a good 4 or 5 years of just awful joke after joke. It's getting so monotonous. It's unfunny. It's cringe. People have told you that they don't
aren't watching
like
anymore,
it.
Right? And that I think that's I think the the biggest thing is that we've expressed our distaste for what you're doing. We've asked you to change it. You've refused, and so we've stopped watching.
Right. We've walked away. Our wallets have walked away.
Right. I mean, how many things can you ruin before I'm not a racist anymore?
Right.
You know, how many willows do there have to be before it's not me, it's you?
Right. Exactly. And until they accept or get somebody else in there, like one of these proxy war takeovers that get other people in there to show them it's them, this is just going to continue. And there's nothing coming up that shows any sign that they are listening, that they care, and that they're going to do everything. The only thing that you can say is that because of the strikes that happened, they've had an opportunity to look at some of the stuff that was ready to come out, and they threw up in their mouths.
Well,
That's why Captain America,
almost everything,
Captain
has been
America
pushed to
4 has been
2025.
scrapped and has been pushed because the script leaks came out, and it was the black Captain America against Trump. That's what the script was.
Right, which is what Wonder Woman 84 was, and no one liked it.
Right. Then, Thunderbolts is getting scrapped and redone.
And that's not because people like Trump.
No.
It's because, what the fuck do we want that for?
Right. It's but you're guaranteed to be divisive, right? There are people that do.
Right, but I guess my point to it is, right, is that a good villain, like, Trump isn't a good villain.
No. But you know who's a good villain? The leader, who you said was going to be in that movie.
Right. But I guess, like, from what you've given us, a good villain is Thanos.
Yeah,
because
that's the only good villain you've given us.
Because he's wrong, but he's relatable.
Right. And he was a threat. He was an actual threat.
A credible threat. Right. And he didn't make jokes.
No.
He didn't make jokes like fucking MODOK did.
Let me tell you something. I've not seen Jonathan Majors in other movies.
He's a pretty good actor.
He fucking sucks as Kang.
Yeah, as Kang. I don't think he understands who Kang is.
He overacts like he's Jim Carrey on friggin' steroids.
Well, we're not getting Kang.
He's awful. This fucking guy can't act worth a shit. So, again,
he's pretty good in other stuff.
Maybe. Because I haven't seen him.
But again, I think
in this role, this guy sucks.
Well, the trick with Marvel is you have to take cartoon characters and make them human.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, you end up with a lot of the shit that we've gotten.
Yeah. It's just, it's just one of these things where I don't think that they're going to listen to us. But the one thing that at least gives me any glimmer of hope is that they've basically scrapped every single movie and TV show that's on the docket to push it out an entire year.
That gives me hope. It gives me hope that at least, some of the, even if it's just her, you have your actors coming out and saying like, I agree. I get what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that is a small step in the right direction,
yeah.
But at least it's there.
But you know what too is at least she can hang her hat on the fact that everybody's saying, as much as this movie sucks, she was good in it.
Yeah.
Right? So she's going to hang her hat on the fact that, well, I didn't suck.
Right.
Everything around me sucked. The writing sucked. The directing sucked. My co-stars sucked. But I didn't suck.
Your co-stars sucked. They were fighting with each other the whole fucking movie.
Right. And when did Samuel L. Jackson become the Will Smith cuck of the MCU? Like,
what they did to Nick
He is such a pussy now.
I just don't understand, like, what happened with Nick Fury, because, like, Nick Fury was awesome.
Right, Nick Fury was the Rock of that whole group.
Yeah, he put together the Avengers.
You know what I mean? Like, this guy was your guy that you could count on, and now this guy is a shriveling pussy in the corner. Like, what happened? Why did A, why did you write him like this? And B, why is Samuel L. Jackson allowing himself to be written like this?
I don't think Sam cares. He's just collecting the check.
Yeah, maybe, but
well, this isn't. See,
I would just think that he wouldn't want himself portrayed that way.
But here's the thing: I don't look at, as much as I identify Nick Fury as Samuel L. Jackson, that's not Sam Jackson's legacy for me.
No, it's not. But
so Sam Jackson's legacy is already secured.
Yeah, but that's my point, though. With his legacy being secured and with him being the star that he is, why would he?
Because he doesn't care.
See, that bothers me. That bothers me. He should care. He should care the most.
He should care, but he doesn't.
No, and that's part of the problem. These actors don't care. This is the issue. This is why Iman Vellani coming out and saying what she's saying is because she cares. The rest of them they don't care.
Right. They
Brie
just want
Larson
the check.
Doesn't care.
No, she just wants the paycheck.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson doesn't care, and that's the problem, and that's why we're getting allowed. I go back to something we've said a million times. Jenna Ortega put her foot down and refused to do shit on Wednesday that would have ruined that series.
Yeah.
She cared, and she fought the directors to make it right.
Well, if they're not going to listen to the fans, then that's the only way that things are going to get even remotely better is if, you either have writers or actors that come in and advocate for the stories.
Yeah.
Because if you get people that are just going to collect a paycheck, it will show through in the art.
And it has. And the MCU for the last, Phase 4 and 5 have
Phase
shown.
4 and 5, I would say.
Yep, it shows that the actors don't care. They're just there for the check.
All right. Well, with that one, let's put this one to bed.
Okay.
Jim, what do you got going on?
I am very close to finishing Chapter 2 of my comic book Eva. Going to look to get that out, hopefully by the end of the year.
Rad. We can expect that on Webtoons?
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So that's episode 80 of The Corner. You know where we're at. CatalystCrafting.com is the main website. Catalyst Creations NH is the Etsy store. We're grooving.
Yes, absolutely.
Holiday season,
Holidays, great.
We're going to be at Northeast Comic Con from the 24th to the 26th over in Boxborough, Mass. So if you're in the New England area, come on down.
Yeah, definitely.
Come down, hang out. We're going to have some cool merch.
Yeah, very cool.
And what do you guys think? I mean, are you excited that, Dover officially, took the time to celebrate the creation of the Turtles? Have you seen Black Christmas? Have you seen Saw X? Do you think it's one of the better Saw movies? What's your opinion on kind of where we're going with our superheroes? I mean, do you care at this point? Have you ever cared? Let us know in the comments. All right, crew. We'll catch you on the next one.